The Awareness Revolution Podcast, where we bring you alternative views on big topics that affect just about everyone. If you want to improve your life and change the world, then stay tuned. You'll hear cutting-edge health, financial, and personal development strategies from a revolutionary perspective. Warning: listening may take you outside your comfort zone, separate you from the pack, and change the way you see the world. Here's your host, Jeremy Kinney.
We're here at Anarchapulco 2019, and got a wonderful guest. This is going to be different because this guy understands crypto from a technical perspective, so I wanted to bring him on, pick his brain, because I've been wanting to basically do it for a while. And I figured that there's many other people that would like to as well. So, first of all, thanks for agreeing to do the interview.
Yeah, thank you.
Would you mind just starting off by telling people who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Chris Pacio. I'm a developer on a project called OpenBazaar. OpenBazaar is a kind of a decentralized e-commerce marketplace, kind of like eBay, but it's a peer-to-peer network. I'm also a Bitcoin Cash protocol developer. I work on Bitcoin Cash stuff in my spare time mostly.
That's awesome. So obviously you do it in your spare time because you're passionate about it. You really believe in the project in particular and crypto in general, I'm guessing.
Yep.
That's awesome. So I know that you're a speaker here. That's awesome. So I'm curious what your talk was about.
Yeah, so my talk was kind of mostly from the Bitcoin Cash perspective. We had this kind of crazy event in Bitcoin Cash last year where there's this guy named Craig Wright who is going around claiming that he's Satoshi Nakamoto, the person who created Bitcoin. Most people think he's full of shit. I tend to think he's full of shit. I spent a good deal of time in the talk going through that. But basically last year he tried to essentially do like a hostile takeover of Bitcoin Cash. He tried to centralize it under his control. And so I just kind of went through, what led up to that and, how it ended up playing out. I mean, ultimately we had this big, we called it a hash war, and ultimately we won and he lost and was unsuccessful, but it's a pretty interesting story.
So that was your talk. You were telling the story of how that all happened and everything. Yeah, it's funny. I hadn't heard about that. So
yeah. They'll probably put the talk online at some point. It'd probably be interesting to check out.
Was it on the main stage?
Cryptocurrencies stage.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Cool. Okay, so one of the questions that I always wanted to ask someone that actually knows enough about the programming language and basically how a blockchain is built. The first main thing is this is a lot of the people that are on the fence with crypto, that they want to like it, they want to believe in it, but they're just so skeptical of government and they think that it's just some sort of government created technology to trick us into some cashless society, basically. Mm-hmm. So I guess my question is, what do you think the chances are, or is it possible that there's some sort of backdoor in the code that the other software developers are overlooking, and that may give it some unknown use in the future that could actually be used to oppress us as opposed to make us free?
In that context, I really don't think there is. There's the actual code is pretty thoroughly peer-reviewed. It's been strongly peer-reviewed for almost a decade now. A lot of people looking at it, a lot of eyes looking at it, and I don't think there's really anything that someone could do to just make it behave fundamentally differently than it's supposed to. There's maybe some, and I don't want to say concern about, but the only place I could think of where there could be anything remotely related to backdoors is with some of the parameters for the elliptic curves that are used in the cryptography. But even that has been going pretty rock steady for the last decade. I think that's pretty heavily peer reviewed. It's over my head to the ability to actually kind of review that stuff, the cryptography part of it. But if something did go wrong in that, it isn't like you wouldn't be able to like take over the system. Like instead, what would happen is potentially it would allow people to spend other people's bitcoins. But if that were to happen, very quickly the developers would swap out the existing algorithms for alternatives and try and find ways to mitigate that problem. So I don't think it's something that like the worst case scenario is like the system stops functioning. I don't think the worst case scenario is that it gets like repurposed for some other like nefarious purpose.